About coating the screen with photo emulsion. And before that, I'm sure you have your screen being utilized for many times. So just make sure just so you don't have any area being blocked by your previous ink. Okay, so it's good to go through like this. And if you have some area looks like a dry ink is blocking the light, that means you have to wash it, right? Okay. So I have something here actually, you guys see, but it's not probably it's not a printable area. You guys may be experiencing that your screen, you cannot have an image to all the way to the edge of the screen, right? Because of the structure. So you should have roughly count like a 2-inch from each side, each edge, your printable area. Otherwise, if you have images around here, you never can print. Right? If your image is here, you never can print. Okay? So so I don't care about this spot here. So I think like roughly okay. And first thing to do is your screen has to be degreased. And we have degreaser. We have a couple of different bottles here. Some are remover, some are degreaser. Okay? And some are different chemicals. This is a speed clean. Speed clean is only for a stencil, screen filler. So this one doesn't work. So you should primarily remember those two things. One is a degreaser, one is a remover. Degreaser is degreasing the screen before coating the emulsion. And remover is something you use to remove the photo stencil. Okay, there are two different purposes. So don't mix up, okay? Same thing, try to use a brush. I should actually tape it. Don't mix those brushes if you can. I know things get mixed up, but it's good to not to use a same brush for different chemicals. Does it make sense? Right? Okay, so degreaser is the one I'm gonna use today. And I'm sure you guys already have watched the video a little bit, yeah. Right? So it's good to wet the screen. Okay, and then you should be putting the degreaser. This doesn't work. This photo, the degreaser, right? Okay. This spray bottle is not as fancy as the one you see on the video. That one had a much better flow, right? And since it's not really spreading, where's my brush? Oh yeah, it's good to take a little bit with the brush, okay, and wait a little bit. The video says 10 minutes, but I don't think you have to wait 10 minutes. It can be like 1 minute. Wait like this. Okay, so wait a little bit. You don't have to wait for 10 minutes. It may be just 1 minute. Just make sure just the entire degreaser gets activated, right? And now just a little bit more. And mix it. And this has to be air dry, okay? Without degreasing, you may have some kind of a material on the surface which may prevent your photo emulsion from coating evenly. Does it make sense to you guys? Okay, so it's good to degrease and it has to be dry. When I dry, always I don't go like this. Why is that? Right, maybe you get some water here, right? So it's good to be going this way. So that's probably a better way to dry. All right, okay, so I'm gonna let this one dry. And so when you're coming in here, we should, because of air circulation, it's good to turn this on, right? And also we should have that door half open. Has to be dark room, right? So essentially this room has to be totally. Okay, it's okay. So room has to be dark enough, right? But I think we can leave that door open like that. So because of COVID, it's good to be a little bit air circulation, right? So we put that a little panel there, so no direct light coming into the room, even though the door is open. Okay, and this room becomes dark if we turn the fluorescent light off. Okay, so fluorescent light should be off during this process. Okay, photo emulsion, and we skipped the one process because I already sensitized on my handout. I already talked about sensitizing process here, so you should read it if you are doing by yourself. When the emulsion comes, it comes with an additional bottle like this. That is called a diazole. That is a sensitizer. Without sensitizing, this doesn't become photo emulsion. This is just the emulsion right now, and you have to make it photosensitive by doing this process. The process is pouring the water within this small bottle, and then you shake it, and then you pour to the emulsion and stir until everything dissolves. That's the sensitizing process of emulsion. And once you sensitize your emulsion, you have to leave it in a cool space like a refrigerator or somewhere cool enough. And then it should last for like 4 or 5 months. Okay, but if you don't leave this one in a cool space, it may go bad within much shorter lifespan. Okay, so once you sensitize, I normally write the dates of sensitizing, and then you can actually remember when the time to replace. Okay, all right. So this page talks about that sensitizing process, and hopefully you guys do it by yourself when it comes when you do at home. Okay, so that's sensitizing. Okay, so this one is already being sensitized, and we're gonna do the coating screen.
And mask means N95, right?
I don't know. Just it's a dusty process. Diazole is toxic, so I don't want you to not wearing mask. Yeah. Any mask. Okay, I don't know N95 is the best mask for that. I have no. Yeah, it's not good to get your skin because your skin gets a little yellowish. Yeah. Okay. So this is a screen, and before coating screen, you have to have all these things. This is called a scoop coater. Okay, and the scoop coater has to be very sharp here. There shouldn't be any falling object. This is going to be directly touching the screen, so this one should be very clean. Okay, so there's nothing sharp on this side. Okay, so there are two sides. One is a little bit more dull, and one is sharper. This sharper side is important side. This one is the one touches the screen. Okay, so make sure this is clean and there's nothing dry object on this. All right, and some other things you guys always should prepare before doing this process. Cardboard chips. I try to have it here in this room, and also some shop rag. Okay, those things should be always close to your coating area. Okay. Normally I have a safety light on, but it doesn't turn on for some reason today. I'm so sorry. Just has to be fixed. No fluorescent light. Don't do this under fluorescent light. You will be ruining your photo emulsion. Okay. So make sure it's all fluorescent light is turned off. You can turn on some safety light. We have this yellow light, right? But that's actually not working today, so we're gonna do this in this darkness. All right, okay. So coating screen is this is already sensitized yesterday. And the entire process has to be in the darkness, like this. Okay? Don't do this in a room with a fluorescent light. Okay? Or don't do this outside if it's a sunlight is so strong. Okay? Doesn't have to be completely dark. This is okay. This is okay. Like a little bit light is okay. Yeah. All right. So you should pour this onto the scoop coater, but it weighs so much like this. It's kind of a scary thing. So I have this another scooping device here. So I'm gonna scoop this one, emulsion to the scoop coater. Okay, don't get too stingy about this because you need enough, and any excess can put back to the bucket. Okay, so that's important. Don't be so stingy about this. Just you should have enough on the scoop coater. Okay, all right. So let me put this one out to somewhere. Oh, it may be dangerous. No, maybe that's more dangerous. Okay. All right, so this is an important moment. Everybody has to be able to do this by yourself. I will help you at the very first if you're doing it for the first time for a while, but you have to be able to do it by yourself. Okay. All right. So this is normally I start with a printing side. And this is called a squeegee side, right? Okay, so make sure your screen is dry, no water on your screen. Okay, and then you have to coat the photo emulsion to it. So you have to, it's good to have this kind of angle to start with. Okay, and some people put some little device here to make it not it's okay. Some people put a little brick here so it doesn't slant. It's good to make this one angle, but so you have to kind of figure out how to do by yourself. So this is scoop coater with the emulsion in it, right? And you need an angle like this to start with because the scoop coater has to go like this. And when I tilt my scoop coater, emulsion start to. You know what? I should go. I'm a right-handed, so I go like this. Can you see it? Okay. All right. So make sure the entire emulsion. Can you guys come in a little bit? Watch. Come closer. Can you come in a little bit? See, this is important. The entire emulsion has to come and touch the screen before doing the motion. Okay. I am tilting, and the emulsion is starting to come down, and now it's starting to touch the screen, right? And I wait until the entire length of the scoop coater from left to right, the emulsion is touching. Does it make sense? Is it touching now? Right? It's touching now, right? Okay, so now with your hand, go like this. Don't turn the lights on, please. Oh gosh. I'm doing the kind of awkward angle here. Okay. I did okay, but look at this. This is bad. I have something on top. Right? This is too much. So I'm gonna go one more time. And if you, at the end, you have to be kind of squishing, so it doesn't break. All right? And it's kind of scary when you do this for the first time. I did a little bit imperfect here, so I'm gonna do one more time. So make sure entire emulsion is touching the screen from left to right. Okay? And at the end, you have to squish. I have some weak spot here. Video shows that you can do only one side, but I try to do two sides. Okay? one of the videos says you have to do only one side, but of course you do two sides, that's become a little bit more protected. Okay. All right. Now, I feel like this side is a little bit weaker. I do one more time.
So it's okay to coat it several times.
If you coat several times, it becomes thicker. Your stencil becomes heavier, right? I don't want you to make it too heavy. In that case, difficult to expose and difficult to wash out. So it has to be thin enough, but you can do both sides. Okay, I did better. All right. Now, this has to be, there's some dripping happening here. So it's good to use cardboard chips to make it flat. Both sides. I have some dripping happening here. Okay, all right. Now, this has to be stored in this box. It's almost like a coffin, vertical coffin here. You may hide inside. Can you come this way, Katie? All right. And come this way. Yeah, yeah. All right. Any other people want to come here? This side? All right, okay. So this opens and there are those slots, right? So you should make this one printing side down and it's so difficult. There's no light here, so I cannot see it. Oh gosh, I don't see. Gosh, I cannot see it.
I don't remember. I think this one's the color of white now.
Okay. All right. So there's those latches here, so you should be able to rest this one for drying process. Okay. All right. So now don't forget to pour this one back to the original jar. Otherwise, we waste a lot.
But can't we just pass it on to the next person and the next person if we're going to do a bunch of screens today?
No, nobody's going to do it today.
Okay.
Nobody's going to do it today. No. I'm just giving a heads up demonstration so people can watch. All right, so this is a process. I want you guys to make sure our entire excess from a scoop coater should go back to the original bucket. After you finish, if nobody else is doing, this one has to be stored in the fridge. Okay. All right. So make sure you guys watch the. You guys can be close. Why you have to be so far away? Entire scoop coater has to be washed if nobody is using right after. Otherwise, it dries and then you cannot use again. Okay? So it has to be very thorough cleaning up this. Now this is exposed to the light, so this one cannot be used anymore. Okay, so everything during the coating process, room has to be dark. Under fluorescent light or sunlight, it becomes not photosensitive anymore. Alright, still not good. I have to do a better job. Okay, I'm going to talk about this extension of this. Alright, so our exposure unit is, we have two. One with a vacuum. One with a vacuum, one without vacuum. Okay? I know people like to use this one with a vacuum. This is actually better kind. Without vacuum, you can still do it, but we probably emphasize this is probably the first one to choose. Okay? This one doesn't have a vacuum, but we can still work with this. Alright? Some point, everybody goes to the exposure at the same time, so we have two. Additionally, we have this flat light. This is something you are using a very big screen and doesn't fit to this. This one has optional. Okay, those are all same purpose. Two exposure unit, one with a flat light. Okay. For example, I see that twisting that a very big screen doesn't fit here. In that case, you have to use this. Okay. All right. So about the exposure unit.
Maximum size?
Hmm?
Maximum size?
Our screen. Yeah, our screen. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let's talk about exposure process. Let's have you guys. All right. So I already worked on my first layer by having this transparent film, media film. And my design is starting with a yellow. So this is a yellow layer. Does that make sense? All right. So anyway, I want to have a yellow. I made black. Yes.
As it's yellow, why can't you just cover most of the image and print over it? Except for the white areas.
I have enough. What? I don't understand your question.
Because yellow is very light, you can print the black over the yellow.
Oh, I see. Yes, you can. I can have yellow here too.
Yeah.
Yes, I can do it too. Just I didn't think about it. I do have some area, for example here, underneath of red, I have yellow.
Yeah.
Some areas. This and this may look slightly different because this area I don't have yellow, and this area has yellow and magenta mixture. Right. So there may be slight differences. We see how different between this and this part, with or without yellow. Is that your? Does it answer to your question? And of course, yes, I could have a yellow under here too, because black would be covering. Yeah. Okay. Now, remember you have to do this process with the two registration marks, like last time we talked. Yeah. These two dots. Okay. And also I indicate this is a yellow layer. Okay. All right. Now, anything, I always check this on a light table like this. I see this area is very solid, right? Here, is that same thing or different?
Different.
Yeah, this is much lighter. It's not solid enough. I want you to make sure that the area you really want to have that color of yellow this time, you have to make sure it's totally opaque. Okay, so this area is kind of funky. It's not, it may not be ideal. Okay, so if the light is showing through, that may not be perfect. So your idea is area to be light goes through, area light doesn't go through. That you have to make those clear differences. Clear? Okay. So this area may not be, so but I'm testing. This is gonna be becoming a yellow or this become totally different color. Okay. All right. So that's something you should check. Okay. On light table. And if you have anything, gosh, I made mistake, you can always scrape out. If it's tracing paper, you can cut those shapes up. Okay, I have some other areas I feel like, oh gosh, this is not good corner. Does it make sense to you guys? Okay. So idea is just the area to be totally opaque or totally transparent. Okay, that's become your transparency, right? So it's a film positive, not film negative. Area you want to have a color, you have to make it black. Okay, so some people get confused. So this is a film positive. All right. Okay, so let's make this one exposed to that. Now this is not in a dark room, right? So what do we do? Is this okay? No. So we have to turn the lights off when somebody's doing this. So Kitty knows where the light switches are. So let's turn the lights off. Right? Okay. It can be, one can be on. Let's turn one of them on. It's very dark.
No, wrong one.
No. I guess not. Okay. Probably this is okay. This area, it's okay. I guess two lights. We're gonna make very quick. Okay. All right. So the exposure. This was coated yesterday, so it's overnight. Okay, you have to wait for at least 5 hours before you can do this process after coating, and do it quickly because there's enough of light is coming here. Okay, now I guess I'm gonna turn lights off. It's a little bit scared. Can you turn the one more lights off? Thank you. Off, yes. Okay. Now, I want you guys to think about which side is top, right? It's transparency, right? Sometimes people get confused. So always your image side should be touching the printing side of the screen. Is it clear? Okay. This, you can read the letters, right? Be there. It says be there, right? Yeah. So that means that side should be touching the screen. And screen of printing side, not squeegee side. Is this clear for you guys? Yeah. Okay, all right. And sometimes I like that the tape. Where did I put my tape? I just moved my tape and I put somewhere and I forgot. Oh, here, okay. So some people don't like doing this, but for me it makes sense to tape to see the location with a Scotch tape. Why I'm using scotch tape? No, why not blue tape?
It's transparent.
Has to be transparent. That's right. Okay. All right. Does it make sense? If you do a blue tape here, that becomes ink failure, right? So it's good to use a scotch tape which is transparent, right? Okay. All right. And then, so now it's touching the image printing side and image side up of transparency. Yeah. Okay. All right. So putting this one here. One more thing. Make sure there is no dust or no ink on this glass top. Sometimes people leave some stain, so it's good to make sure it's totally clean. Okay, and put like this. Before we start, this is a cord. We have this little thread here, over sitting here. This is something you also utilize for air circulation. You put this one like this, not on the image, but around the framing.
What does that do, Toru?
I think this one does a more like better airflow during the vacuum process. Okay, so I'm just putting this cord around the framing like this. Okay, and then close it and latch it. And now probably it's a little bit secure from the ceiling light, right? Now there are a couple of different things you have to remember. Main switch turns this green light on. Okay, that's the first thing to do. Okay, and it's very dark, so we cannot turn the lights on because it's already covered. Okay, now turn this power switch on first. And then next one is light switch has to be auto. Okay, light switch has to be auto. And then right now going to auto or manual. It's choice is on auto or manual. Auto means when vacuum switch is on, the light switch turns on too. Okay, manual means if you go manual, light switch turns on actually by itself. Okay, so it's good to be auto, and this one vacuum switch here goes to manual. Okay, so power switch on, light switch auto, and the vacuum manual. All right, so right now vacuum is on, but not the light is on. And this is the light switch here. This goes to between 12 to 14 seconds, 14 minutes. Okay, on my handout, it's explained that. Did I say like 20 to 40 minutes? Something like that? Right? Yeah. So I typically recommend between 12 to 14. Okay, so right now the vacuum is on. And light is also on. Okay? So it's now exposing the UV light from the box to the screen. Does it make sense to you guys? Okay, so we're gonna wait until this one is turned off. There is no sound coming from here when it turns off. So you have to somehow remember. Otherwise, after this is turned on, vacuum is still on. You don't know how it's off or not, right? Vacuum is on, but light may be turned off. So you should probably set your timer on your iPhone. If you do a 14, you do a 14 minutes on your. Then you remember to come back here. Does it make sense to you guys? Am I talking too much? Are you guys all okay? That's why I asked you guys to write the notes on my handout. Okay, there are so many things I'm talking right now. Okay. All right. So we're gonna come back to do the watching process in like 12 minutes. Okay, so my demo continues maybe another 10-15 minutes. Okay, right now vacuum is still on, but light is off. Okay, so that's the confusing part. Many people think it's still working, but light is already off after timer goes to 0. Okay, so you guys have to remember to turn off the vacuum now, light and vacuum both are off. Does it make sense? Okay. So there's a question from Taras. Why we need a vacuum?
Holds things in place. Holds the position of the stencil in place. So basically, it's solid, so it doesn't.
Right. Then you don't want to have a space between your transparent film and the screen, right? You want to have them totally touch, right? For that reason, vacuum helps. Without vacuum, you can put some weights on the screen. That's an alternative method. Okay. So now light is off, and also light is coming from bottom. Just to be just giving information. Light is coming from bottom of the screen, also from this unit, right? And now light is off and vacuum is off. And do this relatively under shaded light like this. Don't do this process under sunlight. We have a sink outside. We could be doing this outside, next process. But in a sunny day, if you wait too long, probably your stencil will become damaged because of sunlight. So it's good to use a little bit dim time situation like this after exposure is done. Okay? So this is something I want to talk. This is what's going on. This is giving a little bit idea what is exposure is doing for your skin. Okay? So this one is 5 minutes exposure, 10 minutes exposure, 15 minutes exposure, 20 minutes exposure here. You see some differences? Anybody can just say what's going on the 5 minutes exposure.
Underexposed.
This is called underexposed. So it's whatever light is touching becomes hot. So imagine you want to have area with transparency. That area should be hot, so it doesn't wash off. If it's under exposure, that white area is actually not hot enough, so it washes off. Okay? And then 10 minutes, 15 minutes are very good. But if it's overexposed, 20 minutes, start to lose some detail. Okay? So you have to think about how long your exposure time. If your stencil emulsion is very thick, you may need a little bit extra time. Okay? But also, if you have a very fine image, maybe overexposure may lose some detail. Okay, so you want to have a little bit, you have to be thinking about how thick your emulsion is and also how fine your image is at. Okay, so I typically say around 12 minutes to 14 minutes, that's a good range, but sometimes you have to adjust that. Okay, all right, so now this is exposed for 13 minutes. So I'm gonna take this one out relatively quickly. Oh, and remove that transparent film. And you have to develop this. First you do with both sides with water. Okay? This process already softened the area to be washed off. Okay? So rinse the water for, say, just a quick rinse for both sides. And wait for 30 seconds to 1 minute. That time is long enough to make the area to be soft. Okay? Now, after that, you start to shower a little bit stronger. And it helps if it's a warm water. area which was transparent stayed on as a stencil. An area I made black, that washed off. Does this make sense? So what UV light does is hardening the emulsion. Wherever light hit became hard, so it doesn't wash off. The area you made black, the light didn't hit, right? So that became soft enough, so it was stayed soft, so that became washed off. Does it make sense to you? Okay, so you can just do this until the entire image is developed. Don't wait too long, because if you wait too long, you start to expose with additional light. Okay. You can do both sides. Let's go outside, or maybe here. Make sure you do the registration marks as well. I put the registration marks. That has to be also open. Otherwise, you cannot do the accurate registration when you're printing multi-layer. You see that my X here? X doesn't mean my ex-girlfriend, boyfriend. And so what X means, X, those marks, registration marks.
Marks
right?
is fine.
Yeah, marks is, yeah, I don't have to say X. Marks is showing, right? That has to be open for registration part. Okay, everything else? Interesting, do you see that, this part here?
Yeah.
Was imperfect, right? And here was better because it was much more solid black. Here was almost imperfect black. That's why it became a little bit imperfect, right? Okay, does this make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the entire photo exposure process. So hopefully I get do this demo again, but any questions about it? I'm sorry, today was light was kind of now, the light is on, safety light is now on. After demo is over. Okay, yes. No question? Okay, so I want you